Emerald Fennell's latest film, Wuthering Heights, has everyone talking, and I have some thoughts. It stars Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi, and is an adaptation of a book that I have not read. However, I am aware that fans of the book have their issues with this adaptation, understandably so, but I won't be commenting on those issues because I don't personally have any familiarity with the source material, even though I am curious to give the book a read. So in this video, instead of comparing the film to its source material, I'll be judging it in isolation. But first, it seems like 99.5% of you aren't subscribed. I would greatly appreciate it if you can get that number down. The description goes as follows. Tragedy strikes when Heathcliff falls in love with Catherine Earnshaw, a woman from a wealthy family in 18th century England. In terms of genre, I suppose it could be described as a romance with a bit of a dark, twisted edge to it. So what exactly is my opinion on Wuthering Heights? Well, I think it's pretty bad. It's not the worst film of all time by any means, but it's only a few steps above something like 50 Shades of Grey. I'm getting ahead of myself. The director of Wuthering Heights is Emerald Fennell, someone whose work I've quite enjoyed up until this point. Promising Young Woman was nominated for 5 Academy Awards, and even though I haven't seen it in a long time, I remember it being pretty decent. Then of course there's Saltburn. This film was very controversial when it came out, but I personally like it, even though it is flawed from a writing standpoint. Because you see, as much as I like Emerald Fennell as a director, I don't think she's a very good writer, and this is most evident in her latest film, Wuthering Heights. How about we start with the positives? I think Wuthering Heights is a great looking film. The costume and production design, the colours, the contrast, the fog, all of it creates for a very pleasant atmosphere. The VistaVision cinematography is very nice to look at, and there are plenty of unique, memorable transitions in the film that caught my eye. Film is a visual medium, and Wuthering Heights is a visually pleasing film. Unfortunately, however, I don't have many more positive things to say about this film. I think the musical score is pretty good, and the soundtrack by Charli XCX is okay, although I'm not a fan of how it's implemented into the film. I typically don't like it when non-diegetic songs are implemented into movies, especially period pieces, and I'm specifically talking about songs, not score. And of course, this is no exception. Performance-wise, I'm afraid to say that this film did leave me a bit disappointed. Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, Hong Chow, these are all more than capable actors, but unfortunately, their performances never did anything for me. It never felt like they were let loose. Dare I say, they looked bored. Of course, I don't blame the actors for that because they weren't given any good material to work with. Now, what I'm about to say might sound harsh, but in my opinion, the writing in Wuthering Heights is almost fanfiction level. These characters and the relationships between them aren't fleshed out in the slightest. I truly don't know why Heathcliff and Catherine are so obsessed with each other, which is a huge issue because that's what the film is about. Why are these characters the way they are and why do they do the things they do? None of this is explored in any meaningful way beyond the surface level. Of course, it's not a spoiler to say that the film goes in some twisted directions, but none of it feels earned. All of it feels like a facade. It's essentially your typical period piece romance film, pretending to be something it's not. There are characters in this film who do terrible things, but those actions rarely have any consequence on the plot of the film. Oftentimes, these actions are simply brushed aside and ignored. It's like the film is afraid of commitment. It wants to be dark, twisted and gothic, while also being a heartfelt Valentine's Day movie. I'm not saying it's impossible to be both, but this film certainly doesn't do it successfully. It's empty. It's shallow. It's kinda boring. The film is over 2 hours long, and I'm sorry to say, but nice visuals aren't enough to carry that runtime. You need more than that, whether it's compelling characters or a gripping story, just something. And it's a real shame because I can see the potential in this film. Because even though I haven't read the book, it does seem very interesting. Unfortunately, however, what we got out of that source material is a painfully simple film pretending to be complex. As soon as the credits rolled, I audibly sighed. That's it. That's what all of this was leading up to. What a waste of time. What a phony film this is. A phony, visually stunning film. You see, Emerald Fennell is very talented, but she needs to work on her writing. Better yet, work with other writers. Whatever the case may be, something needs to change, because this was rough. I give Wuthering Heights a 4 out of 10. See you next time.